Welcome to Knit Pickers PEI in Mayfield, a small community in rural PEI about 5 kilometers south of Cavendish and a couple of kilometers west of North Rustico. Today's video tutorial is going to be about how to weave in your floats when you're doing knitting in the round and when you're doing color work. So this is a sweater I've been working on, and we're going to talk about weaving in all of these floats. So, shall we get started? So this is the Colourwork sweater I've been working on. It's a neck down, yoked sweater. And what I want to be able to do is to weave in the floats as I knit. I don't want to have great big floats that can get caught on a ring or get caught on anything. So if you see here, if I stretch this out, you can see how beautifully flat it lays, and all the little floats are woven in as I knit. And it's really quite simple to do. So I've done up a little swatch in brighter colors that will make it easier for you to see. So how do you weave in your floats as you knit? It's really quite simple. What you're doing is you want to choose your dominant color. In this case, I want my dominant color to be the white. And the secondary color is going to be the natural black. So when I was knitting this last row, it was 3 stitches of white and 3 stitches of black. So the color on my left-hand side was the white, and the color on my right-hand side was the black. And that makes a difference, and you'll see it in just a minute when I work with the sample swatch in the brighter colors. So here is my sample swatch. I'm working it in shades of yellow and navy blue. And in this case, I want the yellow color to be dominant. So I'm keeping that yellow on my left-hand side, and the navy blue is going to be on my right-hand side. And you can see how beautifully flat this sample piece lies. It doesn't pull in at all. And that's because we're weaving the floats in as we go. So it's not going to pucker, it's not going to pull in. What you do need to be able to do is work with both your right and your left hand. So I'm keeping the yellow in my left hand and the navy blue in my right hand. Now I'm not as adept with my right hand with this form of knitting, so I'm just going to take it very slow and you'll see how this goes. So I'm going to be moving from a 3-stitch to a 5-stitch repeat. So I don't want my float to run 5 stitches long because that's going to be very easy to get caught. So I'm working in my navy, and I just throw the yarn and I knit 2 stitches. Whoop. And then I want to catch my yellow wool. So what I do is with my left hand, I bring my yellow wool up and over, and I'm going to treat this like 2 stitches. So I go in, lift that up, wrap the yarn around, and knit those 2 up and over, and you can see how that's got caught on the back. Then I'll finish off this row with my 5 stitches, and then I'll knit 1 stitch yellow, there you go, knit 1 stitch yellow, and then back to 5 stitches of blue. So 1, 2, and then I want to tuck my yellow yarn in, so I bring that up and over the needle and knit the blue stitch together with the yellow yarn over. Just bring that through. 3, 4, and 5. And you can see it doesn't carry through on the front. You're not seeing that yellow tucked in, but here it is. It's caught on the back side. So 1 stitch of yellow, and then 5 stitches again of blue. So I'm throwing the blue. 1, 2, and on the 3rd stitch I want to tuck that yellow in. So I go into the stitch just like I was going to regularly knit it, but I've brought my yellow yarn forward, okay? Go into the stitch like a normal knit stitch, wrap the yarn around, up and through. 3, whoops, 4, and 5. Once again, it's tucked in, but there's no bleeding through on the other side. So that's what you do when you're working with your dominant color and you're tucking your dominant color in. So you're weaving that dominant color in. Now, what if I was going to be knitting the yellow in a 5-stitch stretch? So I'll join you back in just a moment when I'm ready to knit that section. So here we are back and ready to knit the 5 stitches across in the dominant color, which is the yellow, and weaving in the secondary color, the navy blue. So the non-dominant color is on my right, and the dominant color, the yellow, is on my left. And once again, I'm going to be working with the wool in both of my hands. Now, you could, when you're tucking your yarns in, you can just work it so that you twist your yarn and you twist your yarn back. But I don't know about you. I know for me, what often happens is these balls of wool get all tangled up and you end up having to untwist all of your yarn every few stitches because it's all tangled. This way, your yarn stays perfectly in place. Your balls of wool don't get tangled up. So, what we're going to do, my yellow yarn in my left, my navy yarn in my right, and I'm going to be knitting the yellow. So here we go. 1, 2. Now what I want to do is I want to tuck my navy wool in. So what I'm going to do is I bring my yellow yarn over first, and then I bring my navy wool over, and I catch that yellow, or I catch the navy by bringing the yellow over my needle. So you see, here I've caught it. Now I'm going to come in and knit my yarn over and my yellow wool stitch together. And then yellow, yellow, and then I'm going to throw my navy stitch and back to knitting my yellow. So again, you can do it as I've shown you here, which is to do kind of a double throw. But what I find has worked really well for me, and it might be because of the way that I knit, but what I have tended to do is to hold both of my yarns in my left hand, because That's the way that I tend to knit, as opposed to throwing with my right hand. If you throw, it's probably easier for you to do that, but if you're working more with your left hand, this is what I do. Here's my yellow yarn. This is what I want to knit. Now I've got both of my yarns in my left hand, so I bring that up and over. Okay, so here it is. Up and over, tuck that over, and knit the yellow stitch. 3, whoops, 4, 5, 1, and once again, 1, 2. I'm going to tuck my navy blue in now, so I'm bringing my 2 yarns up and over, cross that over, 3, 4, and 5. And you can see it's not bleeding through, but it's perfectly woven in. So just a quick recap on that. If I want to weave my dominant color in, all I do is I bring that dominant color up and over the needle, just like that, and then I knit those two together with the non-dominant color. And if you are a thrower, you've just taken it up and over, you go into your stitch, throw the yarn, and up and over, and you've tucked your yellow yarn in. If you are working with weaving your non-dominant color in, and you want to work with both of your hands, what you're doing is, here we go, 1, 2. Now I want to weave my non-dominant color in, so I have to bring my dominant color forward, wrap the needle with my non-dominant color. So let's do that again. Bring my dominant color forward, yarn over with my non-dominant color, bring my dominant color, the left hand yarn, back into working position, and knit those two together. And then carry on knitting. So when you're knitting, when you're weaving in your dominant color, all you're doing is bringing your left hand yarn over and knitting those two together. But when you want to bring your non-dominant color, the color that is on the right hand side, you need to bring your working yarn over, bring this yarn over, and bring this yarn back, and that's going to catch your float and knit it in as you go. So I hope you enjoyed today's video tutorial. I must admit, at the beginning you might find this technique a little bit fiddly, a little bit fussy. It does take a little bit of getting used to working with both of your hands. One hand you're using to pick your wool, the other hand you're using to throw your wool. I'm still getting used to it, but I have to say I am so pleased with the way it's turning out. I love the fact that there's no puckering, that there's no pulling. All my long floats are woven in, and the finished material lies nice and flat. So I hope you'll give it a try too. Let me know what you think. And in the meantime, happy knitting.